Hey everybody, I am going to show you how to make pickled beets, the refrigerator style. It's not all the hard work of canning and stuff, and they last a couple of months. They don't last that long because you eat them faster than that. But I went ahead and you kind of can just make however many you want. This isn't very many. I went to the vegetable stand and I got these beets, and typically you'd want at least 4 or 5 if I'm just going to do a jar, and actually that's not going to be enough to fill up this jar, but I'm using it anyways because I want the extra brine, and I'll do another recipe this week to show you what I'm going to do with the extra brine that's in it. But for these, we're just going to cut them in chunks, and these beets, they're like candy, and they're really good on, and you can do them in chunks or you can slice them. They're really good in salads. That's my favorite. But summertime beets are the best. So I'm kind of getting them in smaller chunks because I will be putting them in my salad. You can do them whatever size chunks you like. Some people like them big. Some people prefer them sliced. I like them chunked. It's really just a preference. It's kind of a big piece, but that's okay. And then we're going to put them in the jar. I'm going to put some little seasoning spices in it that I forgot to get out. Okay, so there they are. Now, I'm going to, first of all, I'll show you I'll get to the brine in a minute. I'm going to get some seasonings out real quick. You can put whatever spices you like in it. I'm putting some peppercorns in the bottom, and I've got it's a pickling spice that you can buy over the pickling section, and this is just got a little bit of everything in it. And but you can put fresh, I did all kinds of stuff. Dill, get fresh thyme and oregano and put in it. Anyways, but this is what I'm going to put in because it's what I have. So I'm going to stuff the beets down in here. Like I said, it's honestly, I could have done probably one more beet would have filled this jar up. But that's okay. And when you fill it up, you need to leave space. You want to leave space. So you really probably would have filled it up to here or just a little bit over, because you want to leave the space because you want to make sure it's covered with the brine. So to the brine, however much you make, this is the secret. This is the thing. You can make as much as you want or as little as you want, because the brine is equal parts water. That came off. Equal parts water, equal part vinegar, which I use apple cider vinegar, and equal parts sugar, but I use a little bit less sugar, and this still may even be too much, but the beets are really good sweet. So this is about I'm going to use a cup and a cup, and this is a half a cup, and I'm using a little bit less than a half. But the first thing I didn't tell you about the beets, I cooked them. I boiled them for about, I brought it to a boil, and then I put a lid on it and put it down to simmer and cooked it, and let them cook till they're fork tender, which took about 40 minutes. You can just boil them till they're done, but I like to simmer them till they're done, and it took about 40 minutes. You can also wrap them in foil if you want to, all together in the same foil packet, and put them in the oven and cook them till they're tender. And it's just when the fork can be stick in and come out easily, because they're very hard, so you'll know. Anyway, so cook as many as you want. And then that's what I've done. So now let's get over here, and I'm going to get some water. Okay, I've got a cup of water. And now I'm going to put a cup of my cider vinegar. This is a 2-cup thing. Measuring cup. So there you go. And then I'm going to add the sugar to it. Now we're going to put it all in. I'm going to put it in this pot over here and stir it till the sugar is dissolved. And you can put it straight in the pan. I just was doing that because Pat was over there and it was just easier to show you right there. So the sugar is to whatever sweetness that you like. You can go from 2 tablespoons to equal parts, and it is good to have. You want it to be a little bit sweet because the beets are really good with the sweet flavors to it. Because it's like candy. And if you've never had beets before, you really need to try this. So I'm just going to cook this till it's boiling and it's all dissolved, and I'm going to let it set a minute, and then we're going to pour it over the beets. You want the beets to sit a day or at least several hours before you eat them. A day is the longer they sit, the better, because then they have time to pickle. So I would suggest half a day to a day, and I would probably go for a full day on it, and then they're ready to eat. And that's all there is to it. It's just about mixing it together and dissolving the sugar in it. So it's all ready over here, and I'm gonna pour it in here. Hopefully it's not too hot. You want to make sure. Now this typically there's more beets, so you're trying to make sure that they're covered, and then usually just get a little bit of coverage. But since my jar is so big, I can put more in it, and I'm doing that on purpose, which you'll find out later, because I want to use this juice on something else. So I'm filling it all the way up. Typically I would have used a smaller jar. That's pretty full. I would have used a smaller jar and packed them down in there really tight, but I didn't on this. And I'm gonna wait because that's so hot. I'm gonna wait. Then I'll just close the lid. It's refrigerator pickles, so they don't last as long. So you don't have to do the whole canning process. Once this cools off a little bit, I'll get this lid on here tight, and then I will shake it up and down to mix the herbs and stuff, all this stuff down around, so that it gets on all of the beets. And that's all there is to it. You put them in the fridge, and you wait a day, and you start enjoying them. Okay, so it's cooled off. It's still hot, but it's cooled off enough that I can put this lid on it. I'm gonna get it tight, and then I'm gonna all I'm trying to do is get the spices that were at the bottom and the peppercorns, just get it moving around in there. So that's it. That's all there is to it. And I'm going to let it cool a little more before I put it in the refrigerator. But 18 to 24 hours, you should wait, and then you can start eating them. And if you've never had pickled beets, you got to try this recipe, because you're going to love it. And you're going to love it in salads, but you're probably going to eat them all up before it gets to your salad. Hope you enjoy this recipe. Hope you try it. Be sure and subscribe to my channel and like this recipe. Thanks for watching. Bye.